I've been flying RC planes for over 20 years, but one thing that I never messed around with too much was RC helicopters. When I was just a kid getting into the hobby, helicopters were pretty intimidating. They were big, they were expensive, and they looked like they could just kill you in a matter of seconds if things were to go wrong, or just absolutely obliterate themselves if they happened to touch the ground. But over the years, a lot of things have advanced, the prices have come down, and they've gotten a lot easier to fly thanks to things like this helicopter right here. This is the ready-to-fly Bell 206 from Razordon, and this comes with everything you need to get this helicopter up in the air. It's gyro stabilized, and it's meant for beginner RC helicopter pilots. So today we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at this thing for the very first time, and of course getting it up in the air for its maiden flight. I'm Alex from Hangar 14 RC. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so here we have everything out of the box for the first time, and I already gotta say, this thing looks really freaking good. Like, it actually has a ton of scale detail on it, things from the antennas. We even have a little spotlight right here. This is in the LA Fire Department color scheme, which I think is really cool. There was, I think, 3 different ones that you can choose from for the Bell 206. There's this one, I believe there's like almost like a news chopper variant. It's got like a white and blue livery on it. And then there's actually a camo livery that you can get as well. The Bell 206 in general, Jet Ranger I guess you want to call it, absolute workhorse of a helicopter in real life. The real one was made for like 50 years, served in pretty much any sort of aspect that you can imagine, from commercial flights to private ownership to news choppers, law enforcement. We have, you know, the fire department here as well. Pretty much anything that you can imagine, tours, all that sort of stuff. The Bell 206 is an absolute workhorse. It's like the Crown Vic of helicopters. Like, if you see a helicopter in a movie, probably a Bell 206. You see a helicopter film in a movie, probably a Bell 206. This thing has been everywhere. It's done pretty much every job you can imagine, so it's super cool to have an RC version like this. There are digital servos that control this thing. As you can see by the rotor head here, this is a fly barless system. So on a lot of other RC helicopters that I knew growing up, I messed around with some other like micro RC helicopters, you would have what's known as a fly bar. This one does not. This is more of a scale setup on here, so you do have a collective on here that controls the pitch of the main rotors, and that's what's going to be used to actually control this thing around the sky. Overall, this thing looks really, really good. It's got molded panel lines and rivets and stuff on there. The livery itself looks really clean. The paint looks nice. Underneath here is where our battery is. This is a LiPo battery that just pops into place. I do like this. Makes it really nice and easy to remove and install. We have our charging cable, which is included right here. It looks like it's going to be USB-C, which is also really nice. So this thing should charge relatively pretty quick thanks to this as well. So nice that they include the cable. Looks like we have a spare tail rotor in here, as well as a little maintenance kit. Looks like a little Allen wrench and screwdriver. And then of course we have an additional set of main blades, because who knows what might happen to this thing on the first couple flights here, especially as what I would say a beginner heli pilot when it comes to this thing. So nice that they include some additional spare blades in there, knowing that you're probably gonna run into a thing or two with this. Now when it comes to the radio here, this is the included transmitter that comes with it. Looks like it is going to be powered off of 4 AA batteries, which I just so happen to have here. So we're gonna go ahead and pop 4 of these in here. And taking a look at this, looks like we have a landing and takeoff button. The sticks themselves, they are both spring actuated, so the throttle, which would typically be on the left side here, is more of like what you would find on a drone. With this, these do, from what I hear and understand, fly more like what a drone does, making it a lot more simple, a lot more easier to control, so you're not having to worry about modulating your throttle stick to keep it level and keep it up in the air in a nice hover where you want it. Keeps it really easy. We do have some trims in here as well, some digital trims to trim everything out if needed. And it also looks like we have another slider here to select speed, 1, 2, or 3. So that also is nice to see there. Kind of just a few options. If you want to go a bit faster, you can crank her up. If you want to take things a little easy, you can put it down on speed 1 as well. So nice little radio here, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but enough to get the job done. It's a decent size, feels good in the hands. It's not too small by any means, just, you know, pretty decent for a $100 ready to go unit. So all in all, pretty simple. Looks like you can see the flight controller board from the inside of the battery bay here. But I mean, for $100, you are getting a pretty scaled, detailed RC helicopter that should be very, very beginner friendly. I'm gonna go ahead and pop our battery back in here. I don't really want to power this thing up completely here in my basement, just in case things do go a little bit crazy. But I want to see if this light actually works and just what is all going on here. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. Oh, there we go. So we do have some lights on this thing. We do have our search light up on the front here, and then we have a nice red navigation light on the back. So cool additional little features, again, on a $100 ready to fly RC helicopter that are just nice little scale details like that. I think do go a long way, especially in something this size. This is a 1/33rd scale. So definitely not big by any means, but this is just a really nice, fun size to have. Definitely something you could fly in your gym if you have access to a gym, or if you have indoor flying during the winter like we do here in Wisconsin. Then just easy enough to take to like your local park or something and fly around and not have to worry about much space. This thing is really compact and you still get some really good detail on it, and I'm excited to take this thing out for the first flight. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this battery charged up. Now let's go flying. All right, so we got our battery all charged up. We're ready to get this thing up in the air for its first flight. So we're out here, a little bit cold. We got the radio mitt transmitter thing to kind of keep our hands a little warm here, but we're gonna go ahead, get this thing up for its first flight and see how she does. So first things first, we do have to get it all kind of set up here. I think we're gonna use this table as kind of our little helipad. So we're gonna go ahead, turn our radio on first, holding the button on the underside here. Turns on, see the lights flashing. We're gonna get this thing set up, probably right on the edge here will do. Now, we gotta initiate it. We go up on the throttle, down on the throttle, it'll beep at you. The lights should go solid, which they are, ready to go. It's ready to go up in the air. Now, the only thing we need to do is pull the sticks, left stick down into the left, right stick down into the right. That's gonna start up the rotor so we can start getting in the air. But I am gonna put my radio mitt on because my hands are already freezing. All right, so you can kind of see it in here. We're gonna go ahead and pull those down to the corners, and we're gonna watch it initiate up here. Cool. Let's go ahead and hit the takeoff button, see what that does. All right, so there we are, up in the air. So we are on speed 1, and this is taking quite a bit of the controls to move around the speed 1. So it's almost like if you had like a lot of expo on your controls. So you're not, you know, flinging this thing all over. So I'm about like full forward right now, trying to get it to move. And this is gonna be a great setting if you're just starting to do this, just starting to get into helicopters and see how they work. And then you're not have to worry about it flying into someone or a building or a tree like right here. If you're, you know, new to the controls and things like that. So let's go ahead and bump it up to speed 2 here. Hear the 2 beeps. Gets a little bit faster. This thing looks super cool. Well, yeah, she definitely gets moving. So this is gyro stabilizing here. We do have a gyro on there to keep it steady for us, so we don't have to worry about it tipping too far forward or anything like that, or too far to the side and rolling over on itself. It's gonna fly it very stable, similar to, like I said, a lot of your drones, like your DJI stuff, if you've had any experience with that. It's gonna fly very similar to that. Same controls in a sense, same feeling on the throttle, because they are both spring assisted sticks on there. So very similar to how you would fly a lot of your normal drones nowadays. Let's go ahead and bump this up to level 3. Definitely quite a bit of difference in speed performance there. We'll go ahead and actually give it a little bit of trim here. It does want to kind of come to the back a little bit. We're going to give it a little bit of trim and actually a little bit of right trim. There we go. That seems better. This thing looks so cool with all the lights and stuff on it. You can actually see some of the paint on the tail rotor there when it's spinning. Very bright livery out here, making sure it's not getting lost in the snow. This thing's a blast, man. To be able to come in with something for like $100, ready to go, transmitter, battery, and all, and get something with this amount of detail to it, this amount of control to it, especially for a beginner pilot, this is a great option. I think it comes literally with everything you need for pretty entry-level price. And if you do bang it up, I think it's gonna take the impact pretty well. It does come with the spare parts that you would need, like your different rotors and things like that. And it's a ton of fun. It's a great way to get into it if you've ever been interested in it. Let's go ahead and see if we can fly around this little tree here. This is a ton of fun. I love this. Flight time on this, they say you should get anywhere between, I believe, like 15 to 18 minutes of flight time, depending on how hard you're pushing it, I guess. Charging wise, battery took about 30, 35 minutes to charge with the USB-C cable that's included. So all in all, with one battery that's included, you can get this thing charged up pretty quick and have a good amount of flight time on it before needing to charge again. I think in the unboxing I did say it was a LiPo battery. It is a lithium ion battery, so that was my bad on that. The cold, however, does seem to be affecting the battery possibly. We got our front searchlight kind of blinking, actually our rear light blinking as well. Could be an indicator of low battery on there. Batteries like this, they do not last the best in the cold. They don't like it that much. So we're gonna go ahead, see if we can get this thing landed on our makeshift helipad here. There's a little bit of wind that we are fighting. And to go ahead and shut it off, we should be able to hold down on the throttle as you power it off. That's a fun little helicopter. I really like that. I'm honestly super impressed with this little thing. For $100, I don't know how you could really go wrong with this. This thing flew absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, I believe our flight time did get cut a little bit short just with how cold it is. I think it's like 10 or 15 degrees out right now. Absolutely freezing. So I think it did have a little impact on our battery life there, but in an indoor setting, nice and controlled environment, I would expect that the battery does last a little bit longer than that. But overall, super impressed with this thing. I think this is gonna be a great addition to the overall fleet to have a helicopter to take out every now and then, because that was actually a lot of fun. So if you're interested in picking up this helicopter for yourself, I'll leave a link down in the description below. It is an affiliate link. I do get a little bit of a kickback if you do go ahead and pick it up. It just kind of helps funding the channel for no extra cost to you, and so we can keep making videos and reviews just like this. So go ahead and check it out down there. Of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We're gonna go ahead and warm up because my fingers are absolutely freezing yet. I'm Alex from Hangar 14 RC. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.